Flip that. All right. So, all right, there it is. It's 5 o'clock. So, welcome to the channel, guys. So, like I said, I found this, or I didn't find it. My buddy actually brought this to me, and I found it the other day in one of my boxes, and I thought it was definitely time that we should break this out. And as you guys can see, it's actually from February of 1971, so that's over 50 years ago. And it's pretty funny. It's got the little drawing and the guy. I'm pretty excited to see what is actually inside of this because, you know, this is a little window into the past 50 years ago to see what they were doing back then down in California compared to now. There's been a lot of changes in legislation and just the overall amount of prospectors down in California. So let's get into this thing and take a look. Let's see here. There's a couple little things right here we could go over, but I just want to get straight into it. The cover is coming off. All right, so on the first page, oh wow, that's awesome. So that is a very old metal detector, long range, magnometer, and new Goldmaster Alaskan Model 70. This looks like a model that would strap onto your belt, and then you would plug in your pole, and has a real small coil down there for pin shooting. Let's see here. Large magnetic veins and ore bodies may be detected so far beneath the surface that no other known instrument can detect them. This instrument may be used underground, as in mines, tunnels, and caves. That's pretty cool. Multi-coil wings. Oh, that's cool. It's actually waterproof. So like other than this unit, that whole thing was waterproof, but that's not really hard to do. You know, it's actually got good advice. Check out croppings as high as 10 feet. That's pretty cool. I bet we're going to see a lot of old metal detectors in this magazine. Let's go to the first page here. All right, so what do we got? We've got the ball mill. Just kind of seems to be little bits that people wanted to add in, little thoughts. Oh, what is this? When Lenin came to power in 1917, promising the Russian people freedom, he explained his program by saying, "It doesn't matter if 3/4 of mankind perish. The only thing that matters is that in the end, the remaining fourth shall be communist." I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of communist stuff in here, people talking about communism, because, yeah, 1971, this is like the heart of the, like, Cold War, you know. This was 2 years after the moon landing, and yeah, I bet we're gonna see so much stuff in here. Look, as I didn't even look at this. This is all about Russia right here. For all intent and purpose, Russia now has a naval base in Cuba capable of handling missile-firing nuclear submarines. There is also hard evidence that the base is operational and is now being used to service Soviet submarines operating in the Caribbean and the Atlantic Ocean. This is the ominous conclusion of a Navy intelligence estimate now being circulated at the highest levels of the Nixon administration. The highly classified document reveals that late in December, a Soviet submarine tender operating off Cuba carried out servicing exercises with 3 Russian submarines. That's interesting. My granddad actually worked on a submarine tender back during the Korean War and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Let's see here. Analysts who study the intelligence estimates say that the servicing exercises definitely show that the Soviets can and are planning to use Centrifuge as submarine operating base. Oh man, that's cool. But it's in a mining journal. It's so political, and it's in the very front of a mining journal. Let's go on. Let's not digress into straight politics. Ooh, here we go. It looks like a little bit more of that ball mill up here with some statements and like some little bits, but this is actually pretty cool. So the coupled jet, it looks like it's a standard crash box, but it's actually got side boxes, kind of like what Keene is doing now on some of their big dredges. can't see anything behind it though. I wonder how they're bringing material back up to the box. Is there like a catch right here that it's dumping into and recirculating the stuff up? I don't know. I do like that it actually has these 4 winches for anchoring it down. That's pretty nice. I don't really go out into areas where I would need that for my dredge, but if we were on a bigger river, that'd be pretty awesome. Oh, hey Miles. Sorry about that. I just looked up at my phone. I actually have 2 setups right now. I've got TikTok going and I've got my YouTube channel going. And if you could see what I have right now, I have one camera kind of stacked above the other one so that both cameras can see equally. If I actually move my YouTube camera down, you can start to see the other camera right there. So, hey Miles, thanks for joining us. Looks like on YouTube we've got a couple viewers. Hello to everyone who's joined. I'm pretty excited to show this because I am totally a gear junkie. So looking at old equipment like this and getting to study it and see how it's built, you know, this same equipment would work right now. We could take this out to certain places here in Oregon or Washington or California and get gold. I'm gonna have to look this up because this is an old setup. It says they even went up to an 8-inch dredge. That's huge. Holy cow, an 8-inch dredge would be great. Let's see, yeah, it's a crash box. I don't see the little port for unjamming the log though, so that might be an issue. I'm curious to see what they used as their pontoons. But let's take a look at the other channel, or the other page right here. All right, so this one, oh, classic, Lost Dutchman story. People are always claiming to have found the Lost Dutchman mine. Orlando, Florida contractors claim that he and 5 other men have discovered the legendary Lost Dutchman mine in Arizona, reportedly worth at least $10 million. Well, if that was true, we definitely would have, we would know that now and people still wouldn't be looking for it. But, you know, that's a pretty fun story that gets a lot of people that aren't into prospecting out there. And, you know, that story kind of keeps them going and they go out and they look for gold here and there and they might find some. And, you know, that's the main thing, is getting out there and learning. So I love stories like that. And, you know, whether it's true or not, it gets a lot of people out there. Let's see here. Let's go to the next page and see what we got. Look at that. They actually still have ground penetrating metal detectors that are like this. White's metal detectors, they just went out of business like a year ago, unfortunately. They had one really similar to this. This one's a Fisher. Okay, Fisher's still around, so good for them. Alto, California. I love American metal detectors. Forest Service attempting to halt opening of mine in, oh, how do I spell that? Hauchakua? That's a, if anybody knows how to pronounce that, you know, good for you. Mountain range near Tombstone, Arizona. Battle lines are being drawn as Forest Service officials attempt to put a stop to the extraction of gold from placer gravels even before it begins in the Ash Canyon of the Hachuca Range, 25 miles southwest of here and about 3 miles north of the Arizona-Mexico border. Forest Service officials in Tucson and Albuquerque have begun an all-out effort to halt the operation located in Colorado National Forest, according to the Wayne Winters, editor of the Tombstone Epitaph, whose story follows. And it looks like they kind of go through, so it looks like they were fighting an alluvial, but I'd be really interested to see what kind of area they're working and how much water they have. Thus far, a mill or extraction plant site has been cleared. Construction started on the gravel storage facility location and considerable trenching of sample sites began. The drilling of a water well and construction of water storage tanks to supply the vital separation agent will get underway soon. Separation agent. Interesting. Holy Banana Spaghetti joined. That's a neat name. Irate because of Cochise Mining and Exploration has gone ahead with their plans and has cleared work areas on their Ash Canyon claims to further the mining project. Forest Service officials called in newspaper and radio newsmen and issued statements to the effect that it is preparing to go to court to seek an injunction to stop the firm exploration and development of its property. Interesting. I might actually have to go back and look up where this ended up going and kind of look up the location and see where that is and the geology of it, because I'm pretty interested in that. Because if they're having to pull water from a well to clean their gravels, or if they're using something else to separate out the material, like could it be a leaching operation where they're collecting the gravels and leaching it, kind of like pardon me, what they're doing in Australia? Man-made islands may be used for mining. Oh, this is a difference. Yeah, this is a different story right here. It ends right here. And that's a kind of a far out idea. I think they're talking about, like, let's just read it. William A. Nierenberg, American physicist, predicts that man-made islands resting on sea legs may dot the oceans of the world before the turn of the century. They will provide stable harbors from which to harvest riches from the sea. Man will use them to ranch fish like cattle, mine the seabed for mineral deposits, and draw power from differences in ocean and air temperatures. You know, people have actually tried this up in Nome, and you listen to the people up there talk about these platforms that have legs that go down and lift it up out of the water. But the issue is if one of those legs bends, you're stuck. Either you can't raise or lower the spud, and that kind of leaves you in a bad situation. Yeah, I'm not surprised that this didn't happen. That's kind of just one of those far out ideas that helped fill a page. Idaho geologist criticizes environment protection laws as too stringent. Well, duh. But at the same time, some of the laws are good. I can't argue that either, but a lot of the laws have been pretty stupid. Too stringent of environmental protection laws could make marginal mineral deposits uneconomical to operate and force the independent private prospector and mine developer out of business. This would reduce the supply of mineral commodities and inflate their prices. So warned S. Norman Kester, chief geologist of American Smelting and Refining Co.'s Northwestern Mining Departments of Wallace, Idaho. Wow, that was a mouthful. At a meeting of the Northwest Mining Association and the Mining Bureau of Spokane Chamber of Commerce. Wow, that's kind of covering a huge area. Hopefully, he said, the prices would go up significantly to make the low-grade deposits mineable again. Well, we can definitely say that the prices have gone up to make a lot of low-grade areas payable. I think we can all agree to that right now. Responsible members of the mining industry welcome sound legislation to protect the environment, Kester said, and the industry is doing a great deal in that regard. All over the country, he said, mine waste dumps are being revegetated. Yeah, revegetated. Tailing piles are being reclaimed for other uses, and water is being discharged from mining and milling systems in such a state that it meets the standards of government agencies. The trouble is, he said, the public tends to judge today's mining operations by those of the past. I'm going to read that again. The trouble is, he said, the public tends to judge today's mining operations by those of the past. If you guys agree with that, give the video a like, because we are constantly judged by the prospectors of the past, especially in the 1800s when they used, even up into the early 1900s when people were still using a lot of mercury. That is stabbing us in the back every day. When ASARCO talks about the reclamation, which it will guarantee at its Little Boulder Creek deposit near White Clouds Peaks in central Idaho, he said, those who oppose mining their site, the great areas of sacred land in the Pennsylvania, and West Virginia coal fields, and talk about mining debris which has accumulated over 100 years in such places as Butte and Leadville, Colorado. In Idaho, he said there are influential people, including more than one legislator, who would like to see a law which would make it mandatory for people doing exploration to obtain a permit before disturbing the surface of the land to the slightest degree, and would also make a full-scale public hearing mandatory before any such permit is granted. Okay, yeah, we know that happened. This is going too far, Keston said. It is the tantamount to confiscation without due process. Most of the people who are pushing hardest for this kind of amount of regulation and mining industry, which will be damaging to the nation's economy, know nothing about mining, he said. It is in the mining industry's task to get together with these people and teach them about mineral economics and mineral conservation, he said. Also, how far the industry can go in protecting the quality of the environment without doing great damage to the quality of life by disrupting the economy. This is a massive public relations job for which are poorly equipped, but in which we must become expert, Keston said. Wow, that was a mouthful. Blah, blah, blah. But he's absolutely right. 100% right on that. I can't disagree with anything that he said. Yeah, even back then they were really stripping away a lot of laws. It's kind of neat to look back and see, you think, I would love to go mining back in the early 90s or in the 80s when we could dredge the Rogue River and we could do all this stuff. But really, they've been restricting a lot of places, even all the way back to February of 1971. They were really starting to crack down on places. So, Oh, hey. There's actually a reference to Oregon right here. Let's see here. It was confined at the federal prison at Springfield, Missouri, supported by a group of organizers, blah, blah, blah. Distribution of placer gold in the Sixes River, southwestern Oregon. A preliminary report by Sam Boggs Jr. and Mr. Baldwin has been published by the U.S. Geological Survey as Bulletin 1312-1. The study is part of the survey's heavy metal program designed to evaluate domestic resources of metals and minerals in short supply. For the Sixes River study, 183 samples of alluvium, I love that, were collected from various parts of the river and analyzed for gold content. The richest concentrations were found in the upper branches, particularly in the South Fork, and appear to have had their source in areas of gallium, argillite, intruded by small diorite bodies. Bulletin 1312-1 can be purchased from the Superintendent of Documents, U.S. Government Printing Office, Washington, D.C. for 25 cents. I wonder if I can get that. I'm so going to try to look that up and try to find that. That'd be awesome. And that's actually an area that I can go. I know that. I kind of know that area. That'd be really fun to check out. A gold mine near Johnsonville, California may have been the home of America's first ski lift. In the 1860s, skiers slid down the mountain slope there on Sundays, riding up again aboard the mine's chain line ore buckets. Oh, can we get pictures of that? Oh, I'm so going to try to get pictures of that. I am going to talk about that in a future video. That's pretty fun because I love the ski industry. I was a snowboard instructor for a number of years, so I am so going to look that up and get all of you guys that information because that's pretty darn cool. Hey, Miles, thanks for the likes. Let's check out this. We still got a ways to go. Examine procedure streamlined for federal mine inspector job. Penny market stock digest. Oh, yeah, I love these old advertisements. Revolutionary technique for concentrate copper, cinnabar, scheelite, platinum, and palladium. Cool. The Crusader. Wow. 30 ounces, waterproof, fiberglass pole. You know, I've played with some old machines, and some of these are actually great for silver. Like, they will scream when they come across a silver coin. My kid has a really, really cheap machine, and I'm actually surprised with how well it picks up silver objects in the ground when I do some testing. So I try to get him out with me more, but he just really doesn't have that bug. What do we got here? AMC praises ability of mineral industry to produce resources. Yeah, we don't hear that anymore. People don't really realize where their minerals come from that are in all the devices that we enjoy. You know, it's like your Nike shoes. You'd rather not think about who made it overseas. It's the same thing with our gold and our other precious minerals. It'd be far better if we were actually mining them here in America instead of relying on other countries. Huge nickel deposits in Canada. Now I wonder what they're thinking about silver right now. Silver has had a pretty good growth, especially since 71. Nevada's got amazing silver down there. I see videos all the time of just amazing silver and silver ore. Let's see here. This is an interesting page. Not a like little bits of information here and there, but we need more magazines like this. We know magazines are actually dead, what am I saying? But we need more journals like this. I like that they actually name off all the bills and stuff that people are entering into legislation. And I know what you're going to say. We have groups like the Oregon Gold Prospectors and stuff like that that we share, but I love an old magazine. Let's keep going. An open letter to the President of the United States. It's a pretty, you wrote him a pretty long letter. Let's see here, we're just going to read part of it. Dear Mr. President, I am writing in reference to case IBL 70-208 in which a decision by the Board of Land Appeals Office Hearings and Service. I received this decision today, Saturday the 12th, 1970. I would like to bring to your attention the errors made in this decision. 2 mines in questions were not, as were stated by the board, founded location. So it sounds like it's a mine dispute in which the factual decisions were affirmed simply by a case result. Well, if you're writing a letter to the president, it's probably not going to get to him in this magazine, unfortunately. I wonder if this magazine had talked about this case before, so this is kind of like a follow-up article. Because they don't necessarily see the name of the actual mines in question. But when we get to page 21, we'll see some more. Oh. Pollution threatens major gold source. Gold pollutes, more accurately, that means used to extract gold from the Black Hills of South Dakota causes pollution. And Homestake Mining Company, the largest producing gold mine in the Western Hemisphere, cannot find a feasible means of eliminating the mercury it discharges into the Whitewood Creek. Company officials indicate Homestake could conceivably be forced to close. Homestake estimates it produces 40% of all the gold mined in the United States, 600,000 ounces a year, which sell at a current price of $37.50 an ounce. Wow, that's cheap. The mine explorer of 1,800 persons uses mercury to extract 60 to 65% of its gold. A calcium cyanide solution is used in recovering the remainder of the gold. Consequently, mercury is released into the Whitewood Creek, which eventually discharges into the Missouri River, which is in the upper reaches, is one of the South Dakota's favorite fishing streams. Recently, traces of mercury were detected in fish taken from the Missouri and western South Dakota. In November, the Federal Water Quality Administration ordered Homestake to stop mercury discharges by January 14th. Homestake has asked a 6-month extension of the order to give it time to figure another way to get rid of the mercury. Otherwise, Homestake manager James O. Harder said the only way to meet the deadline would be to eliminate the use of mercury in the mining process. This may reduce our recovery to the point where it is no longer economic to run the operation, he said. This is not a scare tactic, he added. It is just a simple fact of life. Every time you drop the percentage of recovery by 1%, you lose $200,000. Wow, that's a lot. Dr. Robert Hayes, the South Dakota public health officer, is on record as saying there is no immediate public hazard posed by Homestake's mercury. Someone's nose is growing. He said some fish samples taken from western South Dakota have shown mercury residues in excess of 0.50 parts per million, which he said the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has established as the maximum amount for safe human consumption. He adds, however, that clinical evidence indicates the FDA level is conservative, allowing a considerable margin of safety. Hart acknowledges it is in the nation's wide concern for the state of the ecology, which has turned attention towards Homestake, a storied mine which has been in operation since 1878. Everybody became conscious of searching for all these materials of our society that find their way into our streams, he said, and suddenly we've become conscious that we had better do something about it. Wow. So yeah, see, that's the kind of stuff that ends up losing our rights down the line, is because they were using mercury back then. And yeah, at the time they didn't have better ways of extraction. We do now. We have better setups. We know a little bit, more than we did in 1971. There's really no point in ever using mercury again. But wow, that's pretty crazy. I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of follow-up on a lot of these stories and seeing what happened. It's funny that they're talking about asbestos down here. Let's see what else we've got, because we've got a lot of pages to go. Oh, that's cool. Mineral assay field kit. Self-contained propane gas supply and burner, 80 mesh screen, mortar and pestle, wash bottle, funnel, filter and paper, litmus paper, glassware, reagents, acids, etc. Send for free brochure. That's pretty cool. All you're really needing then is like a couple little crucibles and damn near be set. Oh man, wouldn't that be nice to get a jaw crusher for $297? Oh, this is actually a design of the retort that I would like to get. So that's pretty nice. It seals your gold in here, or I actually have a vial of mercury that I want to get cleaned up so it can just be pure mercury. Put that in there, heat it up, comes down here through the tube that's full of water, and it's recirculating so it keeps it nice and cool, so the mercury condenses and ends up down in the water down there. I would just love to have everything on this page. I'd love to get one of these old hand pulverizers. People find these way up in the mountains on trails that you could really only take on foot. Old prospectors hiked into the mountains with these things, and they're made out of cast iron, and they're not light, but they got them up there. That one they put a motor on. Hard facts about soft money. This is interesting. Some questions about the IRS. Can the government legally garnish your wages or seize your bank account? Not without a hearing in the judicial branch of the government before a jury, if you desire it. Gold on hand, September 1941. Gold on hand, 49.71. So they're actually trying to say how much gold the Treasury has right here at this time. Gold on hand, September 21st, 1941. 24,691,000,000. And then in January 1971, they've gone down and they've lost 13,958,936,044. Wonder where that went. Wait, large gain reported in Japan's gold reserve. 3.9 billion at the end of November of last year. The amount was up 209 million from the 3.8 billion at the end of October. Yeah, Japan had such a huge growth after World War II, but America had a vested interest in getting Japan rebuilt. What is this? The Wild West lives. It's often difficult for a reporter to foresee where he is going. When in 1875 the New York Tribune sent H.J. Ramsdell for a story of the Comstock Lode, Ramsdell didn't suspect he would end up riding the world's longest roller coaster, with $50 million worth of silver. Had he known beforehand, he just might have quit his job. Yeah, that was a lot of silver. This is pretty interesting. I should definitely try to scan this in and try to get these files available for everyone so they can go through and read all of these. Are gold coins really Are gold coins really a barbaric relic of the past? No, absolutely not. Just a little ad for them to sell some coins. Large mineral belts located in India. 12 large mineral belts have been located by the Geological Survey of India. These belts are likely to yield sizable quantities of scarce metals. This has been stated by the Minister of State for Mines and Metals. When did India gain independence? I don't have my phone accessible because I'm using it right now, but I wonder when that became a thing. India is actually one of the largest. I think they're one of the larger exporters of steel now in the world. So I'm gonna have to do some research on that and see what happened about these. This has been stated by the Minister of State for Mines and Metals. He said that the Geological Survey of India was currently investigating these deposits to find out the exact reserves and also quantity of mineral ores. 3-kilometer load of zinc and copper belt has been located. Deposits of nickel ore have been located. Copper belts have been discovered in Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra. I'm sorry for my pronunciations. I am not Indian. I cannot speak those words. I'll try. And Hara Pradesh, sizable deposits of bauxite have been found, and those would help the country to attain self-sufficiency in aluminum. That's awesome. Large reserves of limestone suitable for cement manufacture and flux-grade limestone suitable for iron and steel industry have been located in a bunch of places. These reserves are expected to be more than adequate for the future industrial expansion. So this is probably after India gained independence. Let's see here. Whoa, what? Union Uranium Company offers a $100 reward for the recovery of the stock ledger. It is believed lost in transit from storage in Denver. Hundreds of stockholders have approved recent positions by proxy to rename the company, elect new directors, and blah, blah, blah. Those who have not voted still have proxy, blah, blah, blah. So it looks like they lost some papers. I thought they'd lost something else with that name and the reward. I was like, wait, what did they lose? Let's see here. What do we have here? Looks like we've got a concentrating table of some sorts. Looks like it's at a really steep angle. You guys can see the angle is pretty far down unless there's a secondary table underneath. I wish they would include more photos. So I doubt I can call that number and find out anymore. It's got all this classic, you know, extremely fine gold particles, blah, blah, blah. No loss to tailings whatsoever during these tests. Yeah, as long as you pretty much have your cleanup equipment dialed in, once you know the material that you're running and have your setup for that material, you're going to get pretty much all of your gold. I don't believe anybody that says that you can get 100% of your gold out of your black sands. If anybody's ever mined Cape Disappointment, they know that you can never get all of the gold out of that sand. So, but, you know, I would love to get my hands on all this old equipment and actually test it on my channel. That'd be a lot of fun. Let's see here. Oh, it's a whole page about mercury. I mean, it's very basic. It even goes through Cinnabar, which we find down in southern Oregon. There's a place we go dredging down there where we find basically no black sand, but there is Cinnabar in the gravels, and that's actually what you use to find out if you're on the pay streak, because there's not the normal black sand that you would like find in your box or see as you're dredging. You actually have to follow the Cinnabar. But you know, there's a process for extracting mercury from that stuff, so that's pretty cool. That's also where they get some of these mercury numbers, where the environmentalists will say, oh, we're finding mercury in the rivers. Well, you're also finding mercury that's naturally occurring because these canyons have areas of Cinnabar that are leaching mercury into the system. What the heck little sluice box is that? That looks like one stacked on another. It's not a very good advertisement if you can't really tell what's going on. Let's keep going. Oh, wow. Okay, so this is another metal detector. I was trying to figure out what that was. It looks like that's a waterproof model. It looks like they have it in some kind of a waterproof container. Yeah, this is the submersible. Operates in salt and fresh, 10-inch coil. They say for locating placer gold and lode deposits, but basically you're going to just be... if you find a good sized nugget, I'm sure the machine would find it. But, you know, it's really only been in the last couple of decades that we've actually got machines that can find that nice small gold. But can you imagine what it'd have been like to go back in time with a metal detector up north? Holy cow. Miners and Prospectors Chapter, Redding, California. I am engaged in mining cinnabar and have already had problems with our local game warden. Nothing serious yet, but the closer we get to completion of the mill, the worse he gets. I want you to know that I feel that I must do something to halt the injustices that are taking place. I feel that I would be a benefit to the WMC and other miners as well. I would like to be a part of the WMC. Blah, blah. Interesting. Mining cinnabar. You know, because that is actually an important thing you have to do is, you know, at the time there were people using mercury, and to get mercury you have to get cinnabar, and to get the cinnabar you have to mine it. So I'd be very interested to see that process. I'm gonna have to do some research on that. Let's see here. Bones and sores appointed. Gold and Black Sands from the Rifle Board monthly newsletter of gold diggers of Mesquite Diggings. How to clean gold. Put your gold colors or nuggets into an iron frying pan. Heat it dry to a good scoring hot. Remove from the stove. Let it cool for a minute. Then dribble in about a cup of vinegar. Bring to a rolling boil for 3 or 4 minutes. Pour off vinegar. Carefully wash with hot water. Pour off excess water. Hold frying pan a few inches above flame of burner and slowly dry out your gold. Huh. I'll try that sometime. A simple method to find out whether your black sands have gold locked within. First, carefully pan out all the visible gold. Then mortar black sands down to fine powder. Place in a ceramic or glass jar. Cover black sands with Clorox or Drano. Place jar in safe place and forget it for a few days. Then pour black sludge in jar into gold pan and carefully wash with water. Some placer grounds when digging carrying 60 pounds or more of black sands to every cubic yard. Singers have sent black sands after all visible gold has been removed to the smelter at California. A 400 to 1 run of bank run gravels gives 1 ton of black sand concentrate that assays $509 a ton. This could mean for experienced operators set up placer plant that could process 400 cubic yards a day. The black sand concentrates would pay all the operation costs and more, and the free gold recovered would be clear profits. Utah Construction and Mining Company has put into operation at their Iron Springs mine in Utah a dry land concentrator that can process 300 tons per month. If it can recover magnetite profitably, that kind of concentrator would double its profit in a placer area like ours. Our job is to keep proving that we here in Mesquite Diggings have a tremendous tonnage of black sands and gold-bearing gravels. Love it. I love working black sands. Let's see, your Defense Fund Committee holds meeting in 2. Let's keep going. We still got pages. These are some messages from readers. Dismay and disgust, I believe. It was in October 1969 that the California Mining Journal published a guest editorial by the revolutionary head of America, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, just some people ranting a little bit. I actually thought we would see more about Russia in here, but I guess not. Eliminate discrimination against the miner. As a lifelong member of the mining fraternity and presently president of the mining company with 500 stockholders, I call attention to this situation. He's talking about agriculture in there. and then into mining. Okay. 150-mile high quality emerald belt located. It's been located between more names in India that I can't pronounce. According to the experts, it's held practically the same potential as the famous Emerald Belt in the Soviet Union. Only limited attempts have so far been made by the private sector to mine emeralds in this area, but the state-owned National Mineral Development Corporation has now taken it up in earnest. Yeah, I could see India having some emeralds. I mean, didn't they like historically have a lot of gems there? Let's see here. Paper says copper strikes could affect silver price. Silver's price in 1971 could be affected by a possible copper industry strike, according to International Mining and Middle News Service, New York. During the 1967-68 copper strike, it said domestic silver production was reduced by about 20 million ounces. Interesting. I guess I never really thought that copper could affect the silver industry, since, you know, silver and lead run together where copper and gold tend to run together. So I don't really think of the two affecting each other much, but, you know, I bet a lot of the same smelters worked with other stuff, maybe. Let's see here. Proposing a fair producer's price for the metal, a critical shortage of silver will result in, unless the users stop intimidation of producers in Congress, in public meetings, and in the press. Interesting. Oh, cool. All right. Let's look at this page real quick. Old Nevada ghost town becomes an American lithium capital of today. Huh. Oh, that's interesting. If electric cars ever come back, this remote former ghost town could become one of Nevada's biggest cities, because it is already one of America's biggest producers of lithium, a battery component. See, this is why we need to be opening up mines here in America, because we rely on a lot of other countries for lithium right now. And guess what? 1971, you were correct. Cars have gone back to electric, and we need that lithium. But that's an argument for another day. I want to look at this. I enjoy motorcycles and I enjoy snowmobiles, and I love this old Skylark. Although I'm afraid that it would probably snap, because it looks like the bar goes straight down to the skis, and that's how they do the steering on that. So I have a feeling that as soon as you twist that handlebar and have any kind of resistance down here, it's going to snap the shaft. But that looks really fun. The belt looks adorably short, because if that's where the drive wheel is going through, then that's ridiculously short. Now these motorcycles, these are actually still being made by a couple different companies. I love the big wheels on those. I'd actually love to get my son on one of these. It'd be really, really fun. Let's see here. Does it actually say what CC it is? So I'm guessing it's maybe a 140. So it's not too big, but it's not too small either. Man, look at those prices. $500 for the motorcycle and $345 for the snowmobile. If we could still get them for that price, I wouldn't care if the shaft broke. I'd be able to just fix it real quick. Mining highlights. Now here's a neat setup, and I've wondered how stable these actually were, where you do the two inner tubes with the dredge on it. And I've wondered about how, when a jet flare came in, this kind of looks like it doesn't actually have a jet flare. It's just got the log coming into a crash box, but it's really horizontal. So I wonder how that worked for getting that unplugged. But kind of looks like also like the pump is all the way out here, and they have it jointed together. Surface sluice gold dredges. 1.5 to 6 inch. Yeah, with the mining shutting down in California like it did, it put a lot of companies out. And I'm sure they were one of them. They're just kind of going over stuff. Looks like this is for a hoist. They're just doing little bits of information. Silver Star Mines Inc. Day Mines will extend its recent opened Dayrock mine, 1,600 and 1,750 foot levels, into the adjoining property of Silver Star Mines under a new development agreement of Dayrock headings are only a few hundred feet from Silver Star ground day mines and will get 65% of profits in the area and 55% in another, leaving 35% and 45% for Silver Star. It's interesting. I've heard of Silver Star. I'm gonna have to do a little research and find that out because I think I've seen somebody that actually goes to the Silver Star, so they might be interested in some of that information. I haven't actually looked at my comments in a little while. Let's take a look. Hello, Tom. Looks like we got Tom in the chat room. Actually, I don't normally do lives, but I figured if I was gonna show off this old magazine, I might as well do it as a live on my channels. This also is getting recorded on YouTube, so it's gonna be there for my viewers to check out. We're gonna keep going through this because we've only got a couple more pages. Now, see, and this goes with what I was saying earlier about India increasing their iron production from back then. They also iron, they buy a lot of old ships and stuff like that. I actually just had a family member try to call me, so we're probably going to be ending this here soon. So I got a family member who's in the hospital. Auto industry develops air cleaner using copper oxide as a catalyst. Do I think there's a reason for all the iron they buy? Yeah, they are a hugely developing country. If you look at their cities being built, they constantly need iron. They also sell a lot of iron to other nations. So I actually just learned that the other day. I actually thought India was in shortage of iron, but in reality, they are one of the top producers now. I think they're like third in the world. Which is funny because they used to make like the best steel in the world, and then Britain kind of like took their crucible steel technique and ruined the Indian market for selling steel, and Britain basically took over that and got rid of all the makers, which is why Wootz steel is no longer a thing. And for years, India wasn't selling any iron, and now they're one of the larger producers. So that's actually pretty cool. Well, it definitely used to be an Indian thing. Tom just said he thought steel was like strictly an Indian thing. Wootz was Indian as well as some Middle Eastern places. But yeah, you can thank Britain for stealing that technology and getting it all around the world, you know, but theirs was just on the mass industrial scale. You know, that's pretty much what started the Industrial Revolution when it came to steel production and being able to build larger buildings. And what do we got on this? Ooh, a mine market. 15 cents per word, minimum $2.25. Shit, that would be, even today I'd be happy to like have a magazine and charge someone 15 cents per word. Gold panning machines. We ship all around the world. Diamond core drilling. That'd be fun to do. Here, built by Quartz, gold scales. Want buyers, high-grade silica. Tungsten mine for sale. Copper gold mine. Oh man, that'd be great. A Miller cleanup table for $250. I'll go get you the money right now. That'd be great. I would love to have a table. I'd basically go down to Cape Disappointment every weekend to get a couple buckets and bring them home and set them up on the table for auto feed. Granted, I could do that with the cube too. I'm just kind of lazy lately. It's what happens when you work full time and you have a family. People selling stuff. I don't actually see the amount of equipment that I would imagine. Oh, there we go. Some gold dry washers. How much? $225. You know, I actually see sometimes people selling their dry washers still for around that price. I guess that was pretty expensive back then. I learned a new method of taking the gold from the cracks, sniping along the rivers. My method consists of 4 tools. That's funny. A new technique. Let's see here. You're looking to buy them. Well, on to the last back of the magazine. And it's just like I'm looking at a magazine from 2021, just not on super old yellow paper, because they still sell pretty much this same exact dredge, pretty much that same exact dry washer, and a simple sluice box and pan. I mean, overall, the technology from 1971 to 2021 really hasn't changed much. When it comes to the gas motors, there really hasn't been very large advances. I guess in the electric world, you know, we have better bilge pumps and stuff like that for our gold cubes and things, but overall, there hasn't been a huge amount of improvement. I mean, this looks exactly like so many setups that I've seen from Keen and other companies. Now, I would love to get my hands on that old water pump and motor, because 1, that water pump is tiny and adorable, but 2, it would just be cool to have like an old piece of equipment like that. Let's see what they have back here. Spectrum analysis. Oh, and this was something cool. Check this out. I've seen gold wheels before, normally 1. This person is selling a gold spinner that actually has 3 completely in line, going from the first to the second to the third. I am not a fan of 1, so I'm definitely not a fan of 3 in a row. Some people swear by them and they love them, but in the end, I could do just as well with my gold cube and my cleanup pan. So this is kind of funny. I actually am also worried. They're doing it right in the river, so any kind of mess up, they're losing their stuff right back to the gold gods. So I maybe go and pan right where these guys were, because they probably lost some. And is that a little gas motor they run? That's an itty bitty teeny tiny gas motor. That's awesome. It's like a little tiny weed eater motor that they have hooked up running all of them. That'd be a crazy little setup. And they paid for a whole page. Please send me further information about specifications and price. I have included $2 for postage and handling, which I understand is refundable with purchase. $2 just to get more information. No, I'm good. This was a pretty cool magazine. I actually really enjoyed going over this. You know, it was my buddy Tim who gave it to me over at Clanktronics, and he has a really awesome channel on TikTok that I'd recommend going and checking out. He has a bookstore and he finds a lot of really cool old stuff in there, and he does a lot of fun live streams and things like that. But he brought this over to me and I really appreciate it because I'm still going to be spending time going through this and really digesting everything. We just don't have enough time on the live stream to go through everything. How fun would it be to have one of these little portable drilling machines and just be able to drill your own areas and test your ground and know what's underneath there before you even started? Like some of these things I didn't even notice as we were going through. Let's go prospecting. That's so fun. I think this is probably one of the coolest things I saw in this so far was the mineral assay field kit. But we'll rock on. Well, guys, we've reached the end of the book, magazine, journal, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely neat getting a peek into the past, and the graphics on this are just kind of funny. What you gonna do with it? I actually get asked that all the time with my gold, and it's usually the same, save it. But I really want to thank everyone for joining me today, guys. If you liked it, we can actually go and try to find some more of these old journals. If you guys like that kind of content, I can always try to find some more to show you. If you want to actually see some of the gold that I get, you guys can head over to my channel at PNW Prospecting. If you guys are actually watching this on my channel at PNW Prospecting, you can like the video or subscribe to the channel. But I want to thank everyone for showing up because I had an absolute blast doing this. And hopefully I'll get another video out here soon so I can show you guys some gold. Otherwise, have a great night and a great rest of your holiday. Bye.